The Bronze Age, a period defined by the use of bronze for tools and weapons, was a time of significant development in ancient civilizations. This era, lasting from around 3300 to 1200 BC, saw the rise of complex societies, advanced technological innovations, and extensive trade networks across the Eastern Mediterranean and Near East. The introduction and widespread use of bronze, an alloy primarily composed of copper and tin, revolutionized many aspects of daily life and warfare, leading to profound social and cultural changes. This era was marked by the emergence of powerful states and cities, each boasting distinct cultures, art, architecture, and advancements in various fields. Notable civilizations of this period included the Egyptians in the Nile Delta, the Minoans on Crete, the Mycenaeans in mainland Greece, the Hittites in Anatolia, and various city-states in Mesopotamia and the Levant. Trade networks during the Bronze Age were incredibly sophisticated and far-reaching. These networks facilitated not only the exchange of goods like metals, textiles, and luxury items, but also ideas, cultural practices, and technologies. For instance, the spread of bronze technology across different regions was a direct result of these extensive trade interactions. The Bronze Age was also a time of monumental architectural and artistic achievements. The construction of grand palaces, temples, and fortifications, as seen in places like Knossos in Crete or the royal cities of the Hittites, exemplified the architectural ingenuity of the time. Artistic expressions in the form of frescoes, sculptures, and intricate jewelry pieces reflected a high degree of craftsmanship and aesthetic sensibility. However, this flourishing period did not last indefinitely. Around 1200 BC, a series of events, often referred to collectively as the Bronze Age collapse, led to the rapid decline of these once great civilizations. The reasons behind this collapse are complex and multifaceted, involving a combination of environmental factors, external invasions, internal social and political unrest, and technological changes. The collapse of the Bronze Age around 1200 BC profoundly impacted several major civilizations. The Hittites, based in modern-day Turkey, were known for their advanced legal systems and military strength. They established a vast empire that controlled a large part of Anatolia and Syria. The collapse for them involved a combination of invasions, possibly by the Sea Peoples, and internal strife, leading to the fragmentation of their empire into small Neo-Hittite states. This disintegration marked the end of Hittite dominance in the region. The Mycenaeans in Greece, known for their magnificent palaces and as the setting for Homer's epics, experienced a dramatic decline. This collapse is characterized by the destruction of major sites like Mycenae and Pylos around 1200 BC. Factors such as invasions, possibly by the Dorians, internal conflicts, and economic troubles contributed to their downfall. The collapse of the Mycenaeans ushered in a dark age in Greece, marked by the loss of literacy and a decline in architectural and artistic endeavors. Ancient Egypt, during the late New Kingdom, faced significant challenges due to the Bronze Age collapse. While Egypt withstood the invasions of the Sea Peoples, these conflicts drained its resources heavily. The empire's stability was further undermined by internal issues like power struggles, economic difficulties, and a weakened central authority. This period led to the eventual decline of Egypt's power in the region, marking the end of its empire and paving the way for the third intermediate period of fragmentation and political chaos. Various city-states in regions like Canaan, the Levant, and Mesopotamia were significantly impacted. Cities such as Ugarit and Hattusa were destroyed, and trade networks that these cities depended on were disrupted. The Assyrians and Babylonians, although affected, managed to survive and later came to dominate the region. This period was marked by a general decline in urban life, cultural development, and economic activity. The collapse of the Bronze Age, a pivotal event in ancient history, was the result of multiple interrelated factors. The Sea Peoples. These mysterious marauders played a critical role in the collapse. The Egyptian inscriptions describe invasions by these mysterious groups, including the destruction of Hittite cities and attacks on Egyptian territories, particularly during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses III. They invaded various regions around the Mediterranean, destroying cities and disrupting trade networks. Their exact origins and motives remain unclear, but they might have been driven by factors such as climate change, economic desperation, or political turmoil in their homelands. Their attacks contributed significantly to the downfall of several major civilizations. They plundered and destroyed any city in their path until they were defeated by the Egyptians. Although the Egyptians survived the period, they had a hard time recovering from the damage for many centuries, which allowed foreigners to dominate the region in the future. Earthquakes. A series of powerful earthquakes, known as the 12th century BC earthquake storm, struck the eastern Mediterranean. These natural disasters caused widespread destruction of cities and infrastructure, exacerbating the chaos and weakening the affected civilizations. Climate change and poor harvests. Climatic shifts, possibly leading to prolonged periods of drought, had a drastic impact on agriculture. These environmental changes resulted in poor harvests, leading to food shortages and famine. The agricultural crisis strained the economic and social fabric of these societies, leading to internal unrest and weakening their ability to respond to external threats like the Sea Peoples. It is likely, although unproven, that a massive region-wide drought spawned the collapse. Starvation is the most common cause of migration even today. Egypt, which is irrigated by monsoon rains falling on Ethiopia, may have been less affected by a drought affecting the Mediterranean. When the starving hordes that had destroyed every other society reached Egypt, they met for the first time an intact army and a united government. But Egypt came very close to collapsing. The 12th century BCE was the last time, with only very brief exceptions, that Egypt had a native government. Ironworking and military changes. The introduction and spread of ironworking technology during this period marked a significant shift. Iron was more abundant and effective than bronze, leading to changes in military technology and tactics. The traditional bronze-based chariot warfare became obsolete, and societies that failed to adapt to these new military technologies found themselves at a disadvantage. The true impact of iron wasn't that it was far superior to a bronze opponent, but rather that it was comparatively inexpensive and plentiful. Unlike iron, bronze was a mixture of tin and copper, which made it way expensive, as the largest tin mine at the time was in Afghanistan, which was way far, and dangerous journey for anyone to take at that time. With iron, more weapons could be made, and wealthy civilizations weren't the only ones who could afford war eventually, allowing smaller groups to rise to power. The aftermath of the Bronze Age collapse, a pivotal event around 1200 BC, reshaped the ancient world. The power vacuum left by fallen civilizations led to the emergence of new entities. Notably, the Assyrians in Mesopotamia and the Phoenicians along the eastern Mediterranean coast gained prominence. The disintegration of large empires like the Hittites and Mycenaeans resulted in the formation of smaller, more localized political units. In Greece, this eventually led to the rise of city-states like Athens and Sparta. The collapse saw a significant loss of writing and cultural knowledge, particularly in regions like Greece, entering a period known as the Greek Dark Ages. This era was marked by the loss of literacy and a decline in architectural and artistic accomplishments. The turmoil and societal shifts often led to changes in religious practices and mythologies, reflecting the new realities and challenges of the post-collapse world. The extensive trade networks of the Bronze Age, crucial for acquiring bronze components like tin and copper, were disrupted. This led to a decline in bronze craftsmanship and the rise of iron as a more accessible material for tools and weapons. The collapse, often associated with environmental changes, might have led to shifts in agricultural practices. adapting to new climatic conditions, or the aftermath of natural disasters. The discovery of iron may be the ultimate end of the Bronze Age, as it was more abundant and easily acquired. Its rise made bronze obsolete. Iron, more abundant and efficient than bronze, became the dominant material, revolutionizing tools, weapons, and societal structures. This period saw significant population movements, often as a response to invasions, environmental factors, or economic needs. This led to a mixing of cultures and the spread of ideas and technologies. The Bronze Age collapse marked a transformative period in ancient history. It led to the rise of new powers, significant cultural and societal shifts, and the onset of the Iron Age. Recent archaeological findings and scholarly research continue to shed light on this period, offering new theories and interpretations about the precise causes of this interesting chapter in our history.